Kadeen Mairs is widely regarded as a visionary entrepreneur and strategist leading the way in microfinance. He founded and sold M24 Investments Limited, served as CEO of Dolla Financial Services Limited, and founded Dequity Capital. His Dolla IPO on the Jamaican Stock Exchange was oversubscribed by $4 billion. Mairs is a graduate of MIT, the University of Cambridge, and Harvard Business School. Today, he'll show you how you can pivot to success and grow your business in the digital age. Let's give a warm welcome to Kadeen Mairs.
Thanks for having me. First of all, I'm happy to be here. It's one thing to be a successful entrepreneur, but it's even a greater thing to be able to inspire other, entrepreneurs and just to, inspire generally. And I'd like to thank Flow for creating this platform that really connects, experienced, successful entrepreneurs, with, startups, with small businesses, sharing ideas of how to, elevate their business. So I'm definitely happy to be here and happy to be privileged to give, the keynote this morning. Thanks for the introduction. I'd like to just introduce myself as I see myself. It's always good when you see the nice story, the billions of dollars, but there's always a story behind it. So my name is Kadeen Mairs. My background, where I was born in Westmoreland. So you guys have a Caribbean audience. So I was born in Jamaica. Westmoreland is the parish, and the town is Grangeville. Grangeville was made popular by Vybz Kartel, who has a song, "Me a driving through Grangeville." I'll leave it right there. So I'm from Grangeville. Very humble beginnings. I didn't go to Harvard or Oxford. Matter of fact, I didn't go to the traditional educational institutions. I actually got my degree at Montego Bay Community College. So I was Western-based. A lot of times that I meet international people, they ask, like, where did you go to school? Where did you, they try to figure out where did you amass the knowledge that you have. And over the years, for me, I had to expose myself to things that were global. And thanks to the internet, thanks to innovation, information can be shared just as it's being streamed right now. And there might be somebody, we operate our business in Georgetown, Guyana. There might be somebody in Berbice, in Guyana right now, watching this stream, and it might change their lives. I've seen people, I've operated in Haiti. I've been on Gunave Island. I've seen people who have come from nothing to being very successful, and all they wanted was just an inspiration and somebody with the know-how, somebody who they could relate with that would have shown them that, it could be done. So I'm happy to be here. I've started different businesses. After I left, I used to work and go to school in the evenings for my first degree. So I had an early start because while everybody was going to school full-time, I had to go in the evenings and work. I used to work at the bank. Just like most startup successful stories, I had a lot of startups. I used to be a party promoter. That never worked out, especially when it was raining. I used to do printing. I used to print T-shirts. I used to print flyers, you name it. I actually used to host a radio program in Western Jamaica too as well. I've dabbled in a couple things. So, as entrepreneurs, sometimes, failing isn't bad. It's actually good that you kind of find your groove and find which business actually fits your personality. And then, based on my experience working at the bank, I eventually went into the lending business. And, today here I am, a publicly listed company, valued $8 billion, most successful IPO, 15,000 shareholders. When I was in Grangeville, I never thought that this would have been possible, greatest thing, being able to take care of your family, your kids, your parents, be able to buy your mama a house, buy your mama a car. That's what makes you feel successful, not really, what's being put out there. So you have to define your own success and what success actually means for you, One idea can give you a breakthrough. So focusing on that business and working on your mindset is the most important thing. For me, mindset is everything. I know entrepreneurs might be listening and saying, hey, they're listening for the formula to, plug into their business to find out what can make their business successful. And the truth is, you are your business. So once you fix your mind, you fix your business. And you always have two types of people, the haves and the have-nots. And the have-nots are the ones who have not the right attitude, have not the right mindset. They're not the ones who have not the resources. Because, you can lose everything, but whatever is in your mind, whatever is in your head, you definitely can't lose that. The first time I went on a plane, I was probably 23 or 24. When I used to go to school, most of my, classmates, they'd go on Disney trips and stuff like that. I didn't get a visa till I was probably 24 or 23. Granted, I'm on a plane probably like every 2 weeks now. I've been to every continent, and I'm grateful for that. But I had to, as them say, wait a turn, and I've never actually, focused on what was happening for other people and not happening for me, because I know that my time would come. Might be later than others, and just like business, I might have an IPO now. I'm 32. Your IPO might happen when you're 50, and it doesn't mean that my success is greater than your success. Going back to the conversation about a plane, what a pilot always does is they have a checklist. They sit in the cockpit and they flick and they're reading a checklist, and they'll do this every single time before they take off and after they land. They go through a checklist, not because they don't know what they're doing or because it's a legal requirement, but for something so important, you cannot rely solely on your memory. And a skill set for success as an entrepreneur is creating a checklist, creating a roadmap that you would want to follow and what you have to do. And this goes for the rich, the poor, the in-between. You literally have to get up each morning and go through a checklist of where you want to be, what your goals are. And before you go to bed, you have to reevaluate that just the same way. So that definitely is a tool that can be used, to get you to the next level. It was Earl Nightingale who said, your rewards in life are in exact proportion to your effort. Now, what that means is, and I've tested this over and over, when I was working at the bank, when I just got the job as a teller, I went on the teller line. The first thing that the guys on the line said to me was, welcome to the bank. You have 3-4 years here before you get a promotion. I didn't focus on that. I went in. I outworked everybody. I got there earlier and I left late. I don't complain about overtime, because in order to be successful and get what others aren't getting, you have to actually put in more work than you're being paid for. And that also goes to your business. If you're in the business of offering service to a customer is complaining about the meal, don't find excuses. Give them another meal and offer them the next meal for free. It's going to hurt your pocket, but your rewards in life will be in exact proportion to your effort. So in some way, you will be rewarded, and you kind of have to believe in something that doesn't exist in order for you to develop that faith to know that things will work out. So a lot of success isn't, on paper, but it's with your mindset and just stepping forward. I have a couple things that I use as a strategy that I'd pass on to entrepreneurs. And the first one is, whatever business you are in, you find a local company that does exactly what you're doing. Don't find a global company, because global strategies might not work in your economy, in your country. You find a local company that's successful. And then what you do now is that you study them until you figured out their blueprint. It's like you're obsessed with them because they're so super successful. So if you want to get into microfinance, you read this guy's story. Because I used to read Leachin's story. I know his story so well that when he gets up to give a speech, I can regurgitate. I know exactly what he's going to say. I've watched every single one of his interviews. I know exactly how he thinks, right? And I also do that with Warren Buffett. So I know who I want to be like. So what happens is that you have to get obsessed with what you want to become. And naturally, you start acting like this person. You start making decisions like this person. Now, once you get the blueprint, you write that down and you reread it every day. You execute just as they have. It's very important. Something that they don't teach you in school and they dissuade you, it's wrong, and that's copying. But I actually think that they should have a course in copying, proper copying. Not copying the person's name on your paper, but the way how to copy properly. You know, if you want to be a successful, artist manager like Ramesh, just copy every single thing that Ramesh has done. Study him like a book, study him live, you know. And what will happen is that you will get his blueprint. And then all you have to do now is just to figure out how can I do this differently? How can I scale what he has done? How will what he has done now be done differently 5 years from now? And then you will find yourself a formula that works for you. William James said the greatest discovery is that the human beings can change their lives by altering their attitudes and mind. So in other words, you become what you think about. So you have to begin to act as the person you most want to become. You know, as I said, I would, and the acting is not physically acting, but it's just the mindset, you know. And then whatever you want to become, then it becomes easier, it becomes natural. You know, your business is a reflection of you, and if you, fix yourself, you'll fix your business. Fixing your business isn't about fixing your cash flow or fixing your structure, your accounting, or how do I get customers? The truth is, if you fix yourself, the customers will come to you. You know, most successful businesses, it's the person that people are attracted to. People buy Tesla stock not because they like electric cars, but they believe in Elon's vision for his business. So we have to realize that the business will be you, and if you fix yourself, you can fix your business. Start with small attitudes like courtesy, a smile, patience, helpfulness, forgiveness, and you'll definitely have a successful small business.
Wow.
That's my keynote.
Listen, that was absolutely amazing. I've been trying to take some notes here, and like I couldn't stop listening, while trying to take the notes. It was very hard, but listen, we need a masterclass. We need a masterclass. And listen, we have some questions that we want to ask you. I mean, the chat online has been buzzing, and let me just, the chat has been buzzing, and we want to ensure that we get some of these questions out. All right, so give me 1 second. All right, so first question, here we go. So, Kadeen, you're a successful entrepreneur now, but what was your passion or dream career while growing up in school?
This is a funny story, but I liked a girl one time so much she was going to study nursing, and I almost did it. So, I mean, as you grow older, I have a son, he's 5 years old. I asked him, what he wants to become. And every time he tells me a public sector job, I'm like, you can't drive the car that I drive with that job, So, I mean, it's not about money or, you have to define your own success, but each time you grow, what your dreams are might change over time. When I went into financial services, that inspired me to start my own financial services company. So, I mean, if you look in my yearbook, I wanted to become a bank manager until I decided that I could own the bank, so my ambition changed.
Awesome stuff. All right. So we have our next question. All right, so we've spoken already about the milestones you've achieved recently in taking Dolla Financial public on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Congratulations again. All right, so I'm sure this wasn't an overnight success story, and lots of hard work went in behind the scenes. So aside from yourself, who else would you credit with helping you to achieve this milestone?
I mean, I definitely want to, in terms of my company and its success, I had a very strong team behind me. I had people who left their jobs, their 9-to-5s, to start when I was a startup and work with me to build a company. So definitely my team behind me. I definitely had to thank my team.
Awesome. All right. So our next question is, in your entrepreneurial journey, have you ever had a mentor? What advice would you give to budding entrepreneurs looking to choose a business mentor?
Yeah. So I get this question all the time, right? And a lot of people ask, who's your mentor, who guided you? And here's the truth. And this is a method that works for anybody. I never had a mentor. My mentor was, Warren Buffett by watching his YouTube videos every single day. While I'm getting ready, while I'm taking a shower, I'm listening to somebody who is successful on YouTube, just playing over, and I listen to that video 10 times. And it's almost as if that person was talking to me, right? I'm passing on lessons. So it's very important to understand that with technology, mentorship is changing. You have to know how best you can absorb information. And most times, Google is my mentor. Investopedia is my mentor. Like, whatever you want to know, it's already there. You don't have to, know the successful person personally for him to give you the steps. The information is already out there. So I encourage a lot of, small entrepreneurs to, just as we use, our Instagram or our Twitter, use our YouTube for, inspiration and for that mentorship.
Okay, awesome. So, what are some of the key elements of being a successful mentor or small business owner? And what advice would you give to a person who is seeking to become an entrepreneur?
Well, so there's a myth that, when you become an entrepreneur, you all of a sudden, have more time. You don't have to answer to nobody. I have people that used to work with me. They said that, Kadeen, I want to leave this bank because I want to run my own business because I don't want nobody telling me what to do. I want to work on my own timing. And I said to them, sometimes it gets so hard. I said that I'm just going to go get a job.
Oof.
Being an entrepreneur, So it's not for persons who want to work less. It's actually more work. It's more rewarding, but it's definitely something that it takes a lot of perseverance, and you have to naturally want. You have to have an idea that you naturally want to expand on that idea and turn it into a business. Entrepreneurship is not for persons who want more time on their hands or don't, because when you become a business owner, you want to go into the restaurant business for yourself. Every day, a customer is going to tell you how you should have cooked the meal, and you have to listen to them. So all of a sudden, you're not working for the one boss again. You're working for. Right now, I have almost 15,000 shareholders. So now I have 15,000 bosses. When I go to an AGM, even a guy with $100 worth of shares is going to tell me how I should run the business. And the truth is, I have to listen.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I bet some of us never thought about that, right? But listen, take note. We have one more question here. You are in the lending business. How much money you have borrowed for your business, and what guidance do you have on this topic for entrepreneurs?
Well, all right. So I'm in the lending business. How much money I've borrowed? I always tell the story that when I started out, I actually borrowed money to start my business. So I had to take a bank loan and then, do a proper, stick to my projections and be disciplined in terms of the money that I borrow, how I'm going to repay it and still use it to grow my business. So my advice to entrepreneurs is, if you want to start a business, you don't have the cash, you can borrow it, but you have to be disciplined if you decide to take that route.
Wow. And how much does discipline play as a character trait in becoming a successful entrepreneur? This is a very important question for a lot of us out there, especially when you touched on earlier that we have to remember that we leaving our job is not going out there to have free time. But so tell us, how much does discipline? How important is it?
Discipline for me means one meal a day, eating one patty, no cocoa bread, and just drinking a box juice for probably 2 years. That's the kind of discipline you have to have. The discipline where your business is becoming successful. You could have buy a car, you could have do something, and you still put back the money in the business, and you're still taking taxi. Discipline is, not listening to what people have to say about what the decisions that you should have made, but knowing that what you're doing is working for you and sticking to that principle. So for me, that's what discipline is as an entrepreneur.
Okay. And what would you say are some of the key milestones? I mean, we know that the media is plastered with, with Dollar Financial Services just being listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Listen, can we have another round of applause for that? But what would you say are some of the key milestones that you had in your career thus far?
I mean, throughout my career, I mean, the boldest move that I've ever made was actually handing in my resignation to my manager at the bank. I think that was a key milestone. Other milestones, outside of business itself that would have kind of put me in this position is, I've had, close to death experiences, car accidents, and what that teaches you is that, tomorrow is not promised. You have to do what you can while you can, and the simple Parkinson's law, which is the time that you're given is the time that you'll take to do a task. So that means that if I think that I have to become, the head of my industry in the next 5 years, that's the time that I'm given, and I'll do it in that time. But if you don't give yourself that time, or you think that you always have time, then you'll never execute on it.
And we have another question here. How do you fund the seeding stage? How did you select the right partners, and when is the right moment to have a partner?
So seeding stage for people, there's 3 ways that you get money to start a business. You call it the 3 Fs. Friends, family, or fools. Because only a fool would give money to a man who's just going to start a business, right? If you don't have options to any other 3, then you probably have to leverage your current income to get a loan, which is what I did. So that's exactly how I funded it. You can't directly go to an investor from day one. It took me years of growing my business before I could sell that business, before I could get the confidence of the industry to now be able to invest, to get to a stage of. So there are different growth stages. So you have to know the level that you are and kind of continue to grow small until you can get to another stage to get the funding that you need.
Yeah, I know that's a very important thing for a lot of persons, starting out. How will they get the capital to start, and what direction they need to go?
Right.
We have another question here from a 19-year-old. This is Tyrese, who wants to know, what advice would you give to a young person trying to start out?
What I'd say to a young person wanting to start out is, and I'll just use a simple example. If you want to open your own garage and you're young, you're definitely going to have to spend some time working in somebody else's garage before you can open your garage. The truth is, we have to accept that we weren't born with the experience, and the best experience is learning from somebody else and not making those mistakes for yourself. So for young entrepreneurs, you want to get into finance business, you want to get into the entertainment business, you might want to try to understudy somebody. For me, when I was going into finance, I didn't care about the salary that I was getting. I would have worked for free at a bank just to get the experience. So you have to have that mindset of doing what it takes to get the experience.
Good stuff. Some good stuff right there. So we have just 3 more questions. 3 more questions.
Nope. This is actually my favorite part.
This is your favorite part. So listen, guys, keep the question coming. I'm kidding. All right, so looking back, what would you change in your life if you could change anything?
I mean, that's a simple one. I wouldn't change anything. Every mistake, every decision that you make, whether you choose to take the left road or right road, it led you to where you are today. So changing one thing might change everything. So there's nothing that I would have changed.
Okay, awesome. So, and this is my final question, and we're going to be wrapping right here, but what's next for Kadeen?
Well, what's next for me? Platforms like this, sharing the knowledge that, I've acquired over the years, career-wise, continuing to expand, Dollar into other Caribbean countries.
All right. Sounds. So, can we just go there a little bit more right there? All right. So, expanding into other countries, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the other countries are you looking to expand into?
I mean, we've always spoken about expanding into other CARICOM countries. We're a regional company. We're in Guyana. We're looking at other countries that we could possibly expand into that's within the CARICOM space, probably St. Lucia, probably Barbados, just different countries. That's what we're focusing on for Dollar. Outside of that, I also have a private equity company that has a diverse portfolio of different companies in healthcare and stuff. So it's all about growth and building a global company.
Okay. Okay. All right. But before you go, I just have one more question. I see, like, I don't know why I told it. So I told the chat to, come in, and they're just springing in the questions, springing them in. So, what are some of the, what would you tell you mentioned that you have a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
What would you tell your 5-year-old son would you recommend your direction to him, or the path or the journey that you had taken?
No, I mean, his journey will be a lot different from mine. He's not going to grow up in, Grange Hill, or, his story is going to be a lot different, but it's not about that. It's about the principles that you instill.
Okay.
And there's certain fundamental principles, and they're very simple and basic. Courtesy, kindness, patience, forgiveness. Those are the things that you want to instill, because those are the things that, as my grandmother would say, manners will bring you far, So those are the principles I want to instill. Anything that he wants to be, that's up to him.